Have you ever felt like your AI project is just a giant house of cards? One tiny little wrong move and the whole thing comes crashing down? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. The complexity of modern AI can be, well, it can be a lot. But what if there was a way to bring the same kind of discipline we use in software engineering to every part of your project? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful methodology that does exactly that. It treats everything from your roadmaps to your team's skills as code.
So let's start with a simple question. I want you to take a hard look at your current AI roadmap. Is it a living, breathing document? Or is it just a pretty picture? Something that's only, pixel deep. Because if it's not interactive, if it's not versioned, and if it's not directly tied to the actual work being done, it might just be a beautiful mask for some really serious problems hiding underneath.
And this leads us to a huge problem, what you might call positional expertise. I mean, we've all seen this happen, right? A manager who maybe last wrote some code back when floppy disks were still a thing makes a helpful suggestion. But because of their title, because of their position in the hierarchy, that one casual comment can completely derail weeks, even months of careful work from the team that actually knows what's going on. It's a classic case of hierarchy just steamrolling competence.
So how in the world do we fix this mess? Well, the solution is a pretty radical shift in how we think about our work. We've got to move away from these static documents, these PowerPoints and diagrams that are basically outdated the second we hit save. Instead, we need to embrace a new methodology where everything is treated as code. And what that means is our plans become living, dynamic models that are version controlled and always in sync with reality.
This slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the old way of doing things, static diagrams, documents that are never up to date, decisions based on gut feelings and, whatever the highest paid person in the room wants. But on the other side, you have the as-code approach, structured living models, versioned code, decisions driven by actual analysis and evidence, and a culture built on competence, not just job titles. It's a huge move from a really fragile system to one that's incredibly robust.
Okay, so this is the real heart of the AI as code methodology. Everything, and I mean everything, critical to the project, the roadmap, the knowledge base, even your team's skills, gets treated just like software. It all lives in a repository, like Git. It becomes explicit, it's versioned, and it's even machine readable. And this creates a single, undeniable source of truth that everyone, including your AI agents, can depend on.
All right, so that's the big picture idea. But what does this actually look like in practice? How do you do it? Well, let's break it down into the 4 main pillars that really make this methodology so powerful.
So pillar number 1 is the roadmap model. I love this analogy. Think of it as a compiler for your effort. Instead of a static picture of a timeline, your plan becomes a formal model that actually understands dependencies, resources, and who's doing what. Just like a code compiler catches bugs before you ship, this model finds the logical flaws and impossible deadlines in your plan before they turn into expensive, real-world mistakes.
Pillar number 2 is the domain model. Have you ever been in one of those meetings where 3 different people are using the exact same word, but they all mean something completely different? It's chaos. And that's exactly what the domain model fixes. It's like a living, version-controlled dictionary for your team. It makes sure everyone, and I mean humans and AI agents, are all speaking the same language. No more confusion, no more building the wrong thing because of a simple misunderstanding. Now, this one is a real game changer, the competence model. Instead of just relying on some vague job title like senior engineer, imagine having a system where individual skills and capabilities are documented as code based on actual verifiable evidence. This lets you build a true, accurate map of your organization's abilities. And then you can match the work to the people or even the agents who are demonstrably the best fit for the job. And the final pillar is the decision model. Look, for those really high-stakes decisions, going with your gut is not a strategy, it's a gamble. This model uses a structured framework. It's called Multi-Criteria Decision Analysis, or MCDA, to bring clarity and transparency to the whole process. It forces you to evaluate every option based on its real merits, so the best idea actually wins, not just the one proposed by the person who talks the loudest. And here's the thing. When you put all 4 of these pillars together, something really remarkable starts to happen. It's not just about better project management anymore. It's a deep, fundamental cultural shift. It's about building a culture that values competence over position. History is just littered with brilliant ideas that were crushed by hierarchy. Think about it. The samurai, with all their tradition and skill, were just no match for modern weapons. The NASA engineers, they knew the Challenger was a potential death trap, but management just wouldn't listen. And the co-pilots on those Korean air flights, they had to watch in horror as their captains made fatal errors, but the culture made it impossible for them to speak up. In every single case, a rigid hierarchy silenced the people who actually knew what was going on, and the results were disastrous.
It really reminds me of what Sun Tzu wrote centuries ago. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. An organization that ignores the expertise within its own ranks is basically choosing to fight blind. When your position in the org chart matters more than your actual competence, failure isn't just a possibility, it's pretty much inevitable.
Okay, so what's the big reward for making this shift, for embracing this new way of thinking? Well, the payoff is huge. You don't just create an organization that's a little more efficient. You create one that is fundamentally smarter, faster, and way more resilient when things change.
Let's be really specific about why this matters. With structured models, your AI agents can actually become your most valuable consultants, finding hidden problems and opportunities that no human would ever spot. Your decision-making process, it's suddenly transparent and auditable. And when someone leaves the team, their knowledge doesn't just walk out the door with them. It's right there, preserved as a valuable asset. This is how you shrink your blind spots. This is how you build a truly evidence-based organization.
Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Oh, great, not another tool to learn. And trust me, I get it. We are all suffering from some serious tool fatigue. But that's the beautiful thing about this approach. This is not about learning a new piece of software. It is a new way of thinking, a new way of working. The tools are just there to support the methodology, not the other way around.
I'm going to leave you with this one thought. The Stone Age didn't end because we ran out of stones. It ended because we found a better way to build things. And the same is true for how we build and manage our AI projects and our organizations. The old tools, the static documents, the rigid hierarchies, they're just not enough anymore. So the real question is, are you going to keep chipping away with the same old stones, or are you ready to evolve?